I almost started recording this without the audio, and I would have been so upset. So, double check your recordings, guys. Make sure you're recording the audio, okay? Yeah, pause YouTube. SixftHax here. Happy you guys today. The team builder for our semi-finals match against Dan, aka A-Drive, and his St. Louis Rampardos. I am not going to lie. I am really nervous. I am anxious, I guess. I want to get this battle over with. We're playing tomorrow at around noon, either Saturday at noon or Sunday at noon. So this may not even go up Saturday. It'll probably it'll be going up like Sunday, like at 1, I guess, after the match. So hopefully we can play tomorrow. If not, then Sunday's fine by me. That gives me another day to prep. So if some things change, I will mention those in the actual battle itself. But for right now, this is the squad that we are going to go with. If you guys are excited for this, make sure to hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. Do you think this squad will be able to pull out the victory against Dan? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, just leave a like if you're hyped for this, man. Me and Dan have battled each other so much. We've gone to war, and here we are once again facing in the semifinals of P4G Season 3. Now, he did beat us in the regular season, but that is because it was just a meme game. It was a match that really didn't matter, and that was a match that I played with my son, 3FootHax. So if you guys want to check out that fun little cute battle, because this semis match is going to be the complete opposite of that, then definitely go check out that match. It was fun. Again, did it with my son, and it was a really just fun, grand old time, honestly. So yeah, and the great thing about that is that we didn't reveal basically anything that we possibly could have brought to this game. So that's amazing, and that I think is going to be able to help us out here. Although the fact that we already played a weather team in Kelly under the radar squad, and we busted out the trick room on him and the Scarf Noivern, has me a little bit scared that maybe Dan is going to expect us to do the same this matchup, because honestly, our matchup is way worse than our matchup against Kelly. So actually, if this team builder is a little bit lengthier, is because again, it's semifinals, so I may be going into like a bit more detail and stuff. So I want to talk about the team matchup here real quick. But this matchup is way worse for us, essentially because realistically, we have no switch-ins to the combination of Ludicolo and Kabutops in the rain. Not to mention that Tornadus literally just kind of bends us over, which is terrifying in itself. Our best answer to Tornadus is Steelix. And then if he brings Slurpuff and we don't have Steelix, or we don't have something with like Sash to be able to save us potentially, then Slurpuff can just kind of sweep us essentially. So that's another scary thing. Politoed as well is going to be a little bit difficult to switch into if we don't have Slowking. So Politoed, if it's like Specs, could be really smart on his end to bring, and absolutely terrifying to switch into. So basically, the top 6 Mons on Dan's squad are what I'm expecting. The good thing about this matchup though is that Dan doesn't really have the best stealth rockers around. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him run rocks on Kabutops, and I really honestly do not expect Claydol this match, because Claydol just has a terrible matchup. So much of our team already beats it, so that's really good. And again, like, the scary thing is mainly just the rain and the fact that he still has some backup threats and like Slurpuff, like Scavalier even, because again, like, Steelix needs to deal with Scavalier, Tornadus, and Slurpuff. I don't think he'll bring all 3 of those. I think he'll definitely bring at least 2 of those though, and hopefully he does only bring 2, so we can kind of still try and pivot around them with Steelix. But those 3 Mons are terrifying. Then Ludicolo, Kabutops in the rain is terrifying. Rotom Heat, we have no switch-ins to Rotom Heat. This matchup is, oh, I hate this matchup so bad. I hate this matchup so much. And I want to win, but if we lose, it's fine. Like, we made it this far. I'm happy. I'm content with the season that we've had. We were able to finish 2nd overall, and we were able to make it this far. So either way though, I'm excited. I'm gonna have fun, and hopefully we can pull out the win here. So looking at our squad though, threats that we have against him, obviously the Nidoking can just kind of come in and click up. Like, literally, the Nidoking comes in and we potentially just get a kill depending on what he runs. Noivern can also come in. If he doesn't have Slurpuff, we can just spam Draco Meteor, and then in the rain, if we have Hurricane, those are very free. Heracross, also another offensive threat. If we bring Substitute again, then behind the sub, Heracross puts in so much work. And then Salazzle also does a decent bit of work this game as well, because it hits both of his sweepers if they're not in rain, which is really nice, like HP Grass for Kabutops and then Sludge Wave for the Ludicolo, and then we can even like Fire Blast the Excavalier. We outspeed Tornadus, which is really nice, although Dragolgi's kind of stops it. Like, yeah, we have Dragon Pulse, but I don't know if we'll go down that route. Something really huge though, and I want to give a shout out to my boy the Flying Burb here. He has no normal type nor a dark type, which means Gourgeist and Rotom offensively can actually just put in so much work this match. So that is basically it kind of going into this matchup here. Let's go ahead and jump into the squad. All right, so before we get into this, I want to give a quick shout out to D. Grafey. Apologize if I mispronounced that, but he was the main guy for my front office that helped me touch up my squad. And I think this may honestly just be the final version. I may tweak a little things here and there if we do have to play Sunday, but shouldn't be anything major. And then I want to give a thanks to my buddy the Flying Burb for helping me realize that he didn't have a single normal type or ghost type, so double offensive ghosts in this matchup are really good. And speaking of a double offensive ghost, we have a first offensive ghost type here, which is going to be Gourgeist Super. Now I know this seems like a little bit of an odd set, but if you look at his team, a Z Phantom Force pretty much just kind of OHKOs almost anything after rocks, and well, we don't hit with Z Phantom Force, we hit with Seed Bomb anyways. So if we are able to get up rocks in this match, that's going to be absolutely amazing, although I do expect them to potentially have a Defog Tornadus or a Defog Rotom Heat, because there is a chance that maybe we bring webs to this matchup, so he might want to try and mitigate that with Defog on one of those two mons. But regardless of that, if we are able to get up rocks, and because Dan doesn't have the best rockers, and I really almost don't expect them to bring rocks, with this EV spread, we're always guaranteed to live one hit from Modest Life Orb Ludicolo and one hit from non+2 Life Orb boosted Kabutops. Even if he has rocks from full HP, we still have a really good chance to live a hit from Kabutops. He needs absolute maximum damage if he's running Adamant, which he can't run Adamant Kabutops anyways, because then Scarf Noivern outspeeds Kabutops, and Jolly Kabutops in rain outspeeds Scarf Noivern, and it really helped me against Kelly in the first round of playoffs. So he might try and just stick with Jolly, which means we're always guaranteed to live a hit, and then we live a hit from Ludicolo after rocks from full regardless as well. So that's a huge huge benefit of this EV spread, because this means that we can then get up Trick Room, and then from there we outspeed Ludicolo and we outspeed the Kabutops. A Z Phantom Force straight OHKOs Ludicolo, which is amazing, and then C-Bomb obliterates Kabutops. And I know it's a little bit weird to have like Trick Room and Phantom Force, because for those of you who don't know, Phantom Force is a 2-turn move. So the first turn we disappear, and then the next turn is when we attack, and then obviously because we're in Trick Room, we are going to be hitting him, and then he's going to hit us back. But that's why like playing this set correctly is actually going to be, I think, very helpful to us, because the main thing I want to try and do with this set is set up Trick Room, go for the Z Ghost move, get a KO, try to stall out the turns until it's one last turn left, and then that's when I Destiny Bond as he tries to revenge kill me. So in a sense, this Gourgeist in itself can get potentially 2 KOs. That's 1/3 of his team gone. That's an offensive mon, or even 2 offensive mons off of the field because of just this Gourgeist, and that opens up so many holes. So I'm hoping that this set comes in handy. Frisk alone is going to be amazing. Being able to see what items he has is going to be very, very good for us, and then from there we can probably try and play around whatever sets I may think he's going to have on those mons that we're able to Frisk and see what he has. But there is also a good chance that this alone could just sweep late game, because I'm gonna need this to try and set up on Kabutops or try and set up on the Ludicolo. So that's where I'm hoping that this set can kind of get the shine. And you guys are gonna see that this team is a bit more offensive than I typically like to go. I realized that the offensive route for our first round of playoffs against the Sun team was really good. So I was like, maybe it'll be good when we face Dan, where our matchup is even worse, if that makes sense. I feel like that sounds a little dumb, but yeah, we should be fine though. So next off, also, it does a lot of damage to Excavalier. We live one hit from Excavalier too if it comes down to it. So next off, we have Subsplit Rotom here, and this is the first game that I am bringing Rotom. It's been an entire season. It's been 13 weeks. Like what, 3 months? Yeah, 4, 8, 12, 3 months, and I've not brought Rotom a single time. But he has a chance to shine here in the semifinals for P4G, and I'm hoping he does, because sub-split Rotom looks like an absolute nightmare for Dan to try and deal with. Because the great thing about Rotom here is that this can force switch outs. This can get up a sub potentially free, and then because the way Pain Split works, we can continue to spam substitute until we're really low, and then we're going to be able to Pain Split back a whole bunch of HP. Between Shadow Ball and Discharge, we absolutely hit everything for neutral or super effective damage. Now, there was a version of this that had Thunderbolt over Discharge, but the great thing about Discharge, I suppose, is that it gives us those chances of paralyzing things. And if we can paralyze some mons, that gives us potentially a free chance to substitute, maybe to Pain Split, or gives us that extra turn to be able to pick up that KO. Now, with max special attack, or almost max special attack, this thing can still do a lot of damage to basically anything that Dan wants to bring. I'm pretty sure that we 2-hit KO or 3-hit KO absolutely everything that Dan could try to bring, unless he has like Assault Vest Excavalier, I guess Assault Vest Ludicolo, Assault Vest Dragolgi, I guess Assault Vest Politoed or Rotom Heat even maybe, except as long as something is not Assault Vested, basically. This should be able to 2-hit KO or 3-hit KO anything and everything that Dan wants to bring. And I'm hoping that this can kind of open up holes for Gourgeist maybe, or Gourgeist can open up holes for Rotom as well, because this behind a sub is like Gourgeist in a Trick Room. Behind a sub, Dan is forced to be aggressive and break my sub, so I can at least guarantee 1 KO, hopefully 2, and then that's going to be absolutely amazing. So we're going to move on to the next team member here. No, I should be pointing that way. No, that way, yeah. Next team member here, which is going to be Scarf Noivern, aka Nate. I know, I've been using Scarf Noivern so much, but we need it for this match. If anything, we can just try to check just one of his Swift Swimmers. Just being able to check at least one makes the matchup a little less bad. I really don't think we have the matchup. Like, I fully give this matchup in the favor of Dan, because his offense is so terrifying, so that forces us to be offensive in return, and hopefully our offense is good enough for his offense, and that's kind of just what I'm hopefully going off of right now. So Scarf Noivern outspeeds Ludicolo, so there is a good chance he could even run Modest Ludicolo, which is fine. The extra damage output isn't that important, but this basically forces him to run Jolly Kabutops. If he is not Jolly Kabutops, then we outspeed him in the rain, and then we just Draco him and potentially knock him out. So that's kind of a scenario I'm hoping for. If he is adamant, then he won't expect this Noivern, and then we outspeed him and knock him out. But if he is Jolly, that just means Gourgeist has an easier time tanking a hit, setting up Trick Room, and maybe trying to sweep or just open up a hole in Dan's squad. But between Draco, Hurricane, and Air Slash, we hit absolutely everything. I know it's a little bit weird to have Hurricane and the Air Slash, but if Rain is not up, which I fully expect Rain, I 110% expect him to bring the Rain. But if Rain isn't up, I can still Air Slash kind of freely, then that way I don't have to risk the miss with Hurricane, and I don't have to risk the special attack drop from the Draco Meteor. Then U-Turn is there just in case he does bring the Slurpuff. If anything, I could see him bringing Slurpuff just for this Noivern, but Assault Vest Excavalier in the rain can still deal with Noivern, so I can see why he may not bring the Slurpuff. But either way though, Noivern here is our second Frisk Bond as well, and one of our very speedy threats that outspeeds everything except Kabutops in the rain, unless he's like Choice Scarf Ludicolo in the rain, which I guess would be kind of cool, but seems a little bit odd if you ask me. But yeah, Noivern just speedy threat here, can spam its stab moves very freely once Slurpuff and Excavalier are gone, or if he doesn't bring them, then we just spam them even easier, basically. So moving on to the next team member here, we have Slowking, aka Hulk, rocking the nice Rindo berry. This is just so I can have some type of answer to the Ludicolo, because with the Rindo berry we tank a Giga Drain and then we Thunder Wave the Ludicolo. If we Thunder Wave the Ludicolo, that is amazing for our Rotom, and potentially, well, you guys should know we're bringing Nidoking. And for Nidoking, I probably should have put Nidoking before. It doesn't matter, But that's really good for Nidoking and Rotom, because then I have 2 mons to outspeed one of his Swift Swimmers in the rain. And then if I can tank a hit from the Kabutops, I can also Thunder Wave that, or maybe even knock it out with the Scald in the rain, which is really nice. So Slowking just in general is a really good pivot mon this match, because This means that we can also have a good switch into Polytoad. As I mentioned, without Slowking, we don't have a switch into Polytoad. So Slowking is going to be a very good pivot in this match. I didn't want to go with something like Assault Vest because I want to be able to have that option to slack off into Thunder Wave and not just be forced to be offensive. I can at least try to be more of a tank than be just aggressive right out. So I really feel like Rindo Berry is a pretty solid item on Slowking here, although this does mean we don't tank a Mega Horn from the Excavalier. If we can try and burn that, that'd be really good. If we do get the burn in the rain, Scald should still be doing decent damage, and overall this set I think can definitely put in work. With the Rindo Berry, we definitely tank, I believe, 2 Giga Drains if I'm not mistaken. Even without the Rindo Berry, at full HP, we still tank 1 Giga Drain at least from the Ludicolo. So that's going to be really good in itself. Moving on to our next team member here, we have, of course, Chomp, aka Nidoking, making his amazing return to the squad here because this thing is a monster. Now, we are running Assault Vest because this is legitimately the only thing that we have that can kind of check Rotom, and I definitely see Rotom being a very offensive set, or even just defensive in general could be a bit of a nightmare to deal with. And the great thing is that with Assault Vest, we can consistently pivot into Rotom, forcing him in and out, and if we are able to get up rocks, then that's going to be great because he's going to be taking that 25% chip damage every single time he's switching in and out, and we can use that to our advantage. I originally did have Surf over Thunder, but Sludge Wave still can 2-hit KO Rotom depending on his spread, and if I have rocks up, then I don't even need the extra damage from Surf in the rain, so I'd rather have Thunder, where Thunder can be pretty spammable against his team, and then that can also nab me some potential paralysis, and that in itself would be really handy. So yeah, we have Thunder Wave on Slowking, we have Discharge on Rotom, and Thunder on Nidoking. This way we can kind of hopefully slow down his super speedy team or take advantage of those paralysis with Rotom substitutes and potentially Gourgeist's Trick Room and Phantom Force as well. And then Fire Blast, Earth Power, and Sludge Wave basically hit everything else. Like Fire Blast nukes Excavalier regardless of if it's in the rain or not, so that's really amazing. The speed EVs are enough to outspeed a modest Ludicolo after it's Thunder Waved in the rain, because again, there's no real reason for him to run timid Ludicolo in my opinion, honestly. So if he runs modest, he's only reaching 122 speed. So if we Thunder Wave that, or if it's out of the rain, then Nidoking can outspeed it, and we're still doing pretty good damage with a modest nature and only 36 special attack EVs, and then the rest is into bulk, so we can pivot into the Rotom. I guess this can also check the Pikachu, but I don't expect them to bring Pikachu, Claydol, or Parasect, honestly. Like, those three have just terrible matchups in my opinion. So yeah, not much to say about the Nidoking. It's just mainly here to check the Rotom, maybe try to tank a hit from the Polytoad or even the Tornadus if it comes down to it, and I guess the Pikachu as well. And our final team member here, actually this is not as long as I was expecting it to be, but it's fine. So our final team member here is going to be Yoshi, aka Steelix. I know this seems very odd, especially because the Rain Core he has just absolutely blows back Steelix, but at the same time, Steelix checks the Excavalier, Slurpuff, and the Tornadus. Again, I don't expect all three to come. I expect at least 2 of the 3 to come. I definitely would bet money Tornadus is coming, and then either Excavalier or Slurpuff, but not both. At least one of those 2 is coming along with the Tornadus. So with this EV spread, we're able to switch into 2 Heat Waves if necessary because of the Occa Berry. And then from there, we can go for Gyro Ball, knock out Tornadus potentially. We can Explosion if we are in sturdy range and we need to take something out. I originally wanted to go with like normal gem Explosion because that would have been an insta nuke, but I guess regular Explosion still does some pretty decent damage, and this can also just be a bit of a better switch in to Tornadus in general. And then of course Stealth Rocks, I mentioned in the beginning of me reviewing the team, Rocks could be very important in this matchup, but there is a chance he'll have Defog on Rotom or Defog on Tornadus, so I don't know if I will be able to get them up and keep them up. But if I can do that, then we should be in a really good spot throughout the match. And then if need be, with us being at full HP, we tank 1 hit because of sturdy, and then we can Explosion or revenge kill something on his team. So that's basically the Steelix set here. It's mainly here to check the 3 Mons, Tornadus, Excavalier, Slurpuff, Or worst comes to worst, we're in sturdy range, we explode on like Ludicolo, we earthquake after living a hit from Kabutops and knock it out potentially. We can gyro ball Tornadus after tanking a hit as well. Maybe explode on Politoed. I'm not too sure, but regardless, I hope the set does put in work, and not too much to say about it. So yeah guys, that is going to be our squad. I am nervous, I'm excited, I'm getting a phone call. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this, hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to let me know in the comment section below what you think is our chances of winning. Do you think we can win, or do you think we're going to lose in the semifinals? I don't know, let me know. And with that being said, I will see you all later. So later everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot hacks. 6 foot hacks, hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks, hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks, hacks.